This was the moment the world started waking up. Art, science, ideas, everything lit up like never before. It wasn't just one city or one man. The Renaissance was a wave, and it hit hard. Let's look at 10 moments that made it unforgettable. In 1425, a guy named Brunelleschi did something wild. He figured out how to paint depth on a flat surface. It sounds simple, but no one had cracked it before. It changed how people saw space in art. Literally. Painters could now create real, believable scenes. Buildings with angles, roads that stretched, people that popped. It was like the world had gained a third dimension, and just like that, painting would never be the same. Before this, books were copied by hand, which meant most people never saw one. Then in the 1440s, Gutenberg rolled out the printing press. Suddenly, books could be mass-produced. Ideas moved faster. Knowledge wasn't stuck in dusty libraries anymore. This was the internet of the 15th century. It helped fuel everything that came next. The Medici family weren't just rich, they were smart about using it. They funded artists, scientists, architects. If Florence was a stage, the Medicis paid for the lights. Under their watch, the city became a creative explosion. Botticelli, Michelangelo, Galileo, they all passed through. This was more than money. It was vision and power. In 1453, Constantinople fell to the Ottomans. It was the last piece of the old Roman Empire. When it collapsed, it sent shockwaves across Europe. But something strange happened in the chaos. Greek scholars started fleeing west. Many went to Italy. They didn't come empty-handed. They carried books. Not just any books, ancient ones. Stuff written by Plato, Aristotle, and other long-dead geniuses. For centuries, Europe had lost access to most of this knowledge. Now it came flooding back. Ideas about science, math, art, government, everything. It was like the lights came on in people's heads. New questions started replacing old beliefs. Europe got a brain boost from the East, and that spark helped set the Renaissance on fire. Leonardo wasn't just a painter, he was a human hurricane of ideas. His notebooks are proof. Thousands of pages covered in wild sketches, bird wings, robots, war machines. He wrote backwards sometimes, mirror writing, just to be weird. But inside those pages was a new kind of genius. He cut open cadavers to study muscles and organs. His anatomy drawings were more accurate than medical books. He designed bridges and flying machines centuries ahead of their time. He thought about water pressure, gears, optics, basically everything. He blended science and art so smoothly, it didn't feel like two fields. It felt like one giant playground for his brain. Even though he didn't finish most of his inventions, the way he thought changed what it meant to be a thinker. He made curiosity feel powerful. Florence had a giant block of marble no one wanted to touch. It was huge, flawed, and had been sitting there for decades. Then came Michelangelo. He was in his 20s, and he saw something inside that stone. 3 years later, David was born, 17 feet tall, made with unbelievable detail. You could see the tension in his neck, veins in his arms, muscles ready to snap. But what made it special wasn't just how real it looked, it was the mood. David wasn't fighting, he was thinking, standing still, staring down Goliath with total focus. It captured human strength and fear in one look. This wasn't just art, it was emotion, frozen in marble. People lined up just to see it, and some were moved to tears. Florence put it in the city square as a symbol of power. But it was more than that. It was a moment when humanity became heroic. Raphael was painting inside the Vatican. The room was meant to honor the church, but he filled it with ancient Greeks, philosophers, scientists, mathematicians. Over 20 of them, all gathered in one grand imaginary hall, pointing up to the sky, pointing forward to Earth. Euclid bent over with a compass. Even Raphael painted himself into the crowd. The scene feels alive, like a real moment frozen in time. Everyone's deep in thought or conversation. Some are teaching, some are arguing. It was a bold move. In the middle of a Christian palace, Raphael celebrated reason, logic, and old world wisdom. The painting said, ideas matter, and the past still has something to teach. It captured the heart of the Renaissance in one picture, a perfect balance of art, philosophy, and human potential. It was just a list of 95 points. Martin Luther wrote them in 1517, mostly stuff he thought the Catholic Church was doing wrong. He didn't mean to blow up Europe, he just wanted a debate. So he nailed the list to a church door in Wittenberg, Germany. That door was the social media wall of its time, but thanks to the printing press, the list spread fast. Like, really fast. In weeks, copies were flying across the continent. Luther's big issue? He thought people shouldn't have to pay money for forgiveness. He also said the Bible should be in regular languages. not Latin, so people could read it for themselves. This was a direct challenge to the church's power, and it kicked off the Protestant Reformation. One guy, one list. And suddenly, Europe wasn't one church anymore. It was many. For thousands of years, everyone thought Earth was the center. The sun, the stars, they all circled us. That's what the church taught too. Then in 1543, Copernicus dropped a bomb. He said the sun was in the middle. Earth was just another planet, spinning in space. At first, people ignored him. Some laughed. Some got angry. But slowly, minds began to shift. This was more than astronomy. It said humans weren't the main characters in the universe. It messed with pride. It messed with power. But it also opened the door to science, to truth based on evidence, not belief. Copernicus didn't shout it from the rooftops, but his quiet revolution never stopped growing. Leonardo painted her around 1503. We don't know her real name for sure, but we know her smile. It's soft, mysterious, almost smug. She's not a goddess or a queen, just a woman, sitting calmly, staring back at you. Her eyes follow you across the room. You start wondering what she's thinking. That's the magic. She feels alive. Leonardo used techniques no one had mastered before. Soft shadows, smooth transitions, gentle light. It made her look more like a person than a portrait. The painting is small, but it changed the game. No symbols, no halos, no grand setting. Just a human face full of secrets, and 5 centuries later, she's still making us ask questions. The Renaissance didn't happen all at once. It sparked here, flared there, kept moving, each moment stacked on the last. And together, they cracked open the future. Art, science, books, people, they all shifted. The world started asking better questions and dreaming bigger answers. We're still riding that wave today. Thanks for watching. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more stories that shape the world, and drop your favorite Renaissance moment in the comments. See you next time.